Everybody, sit straight, spine erect. Eyes gently closed. Shift your eye gaze to the third eye. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Let's begin today's session with the opening chant. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamayam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Well, what a fantastic evening, as always. Welcome to the YEC Weekly Satsang. Today we have the much-awaited session with Ramakanth. It's the way I would say is this is Ramakanth's darshana. It's a darshana, so we're going to look at some of the dimensions that Ramakanth has been exploring and have been collecting. So, Ramakanth, all yours.
Okay, thank you. Namaste, everybody. So today's plan is so today Ayurveda and nutrition. There's nothing. I mean, I would just like to go with a quick overview, only the key points, and mainly move into probably FAQs and make it more interactive and useful session rather than there could be a lot that Google has and a lot of it that we have. But more important is what you would like to get out of it, or just get the point of view and so on. Right? So let it be more practical. So like I said, maybe let me share my screen. So for today, let me try. So here is one link that I dumped all my thoughts. So one is the prescriptions and the depleting the nutritional status and all, some medical tests that I have listed that our doctors don't cover in general. And some of my favorite websites, some of the integrative and functional doctors, vitamin supplements, a discussion on synthetic versus food-based, and a little bit on the IV therapy. So these are some nutrition, nutraceutical kind of topics that I am interested to cover. And in general, the other topic is about Ayurveda. So Ayurveda is it's an overview of Ayurveda, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and once we know what kind of body type we have, then we can use that. So let me open this up. So the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, right? We have once we know what type we are, we could be a dual dosha, we could be a single dosha. Based on it, what are the foods to take and what to avoid. Similarly, some of the encyclopedia, the Ayurvedic website that I like, the good resources, some YouTube resources, and a little bit of overview and the daily routine. So these are in general the topics that I am trying to cover. But before that, any specific questions you have, if you could let me know, we could direct our conversations in that direction while we go through these topics. Any specific ones that you have in mind?
Ramakanth, I have a question.
Yes.
I have tried looking at what, if I belong to Kapha, Vata, Pitta, but it's always a combination.
Yes.
So it's very difficult to make a decision as to what actually works.
But not exactly, because I will. Yeah. So how to handle, right? How to.
Yeah, when there is a combination, it's how to handle the combination.
Yeah. So that's a very good question, and we can cover that. Okay. Any other questions we have?
And the other one is that's also a very dynamic state, right? I don't think it's more of a fixed state. It changes or does not.
It changes, but it is not. It takes time to change. It takes time to change, and so probably every quarterly, like we have the quarterly results. Right? If we can kind of check through, that will be great to know.
And based on, like, for example, your mood, what you eat, and so on and so forth, I think just like, your body composition might change your behaviors, I believe it's a cyclical pattern. Just like your sangat will also affect, the doshas, or is it not?
Yes. So let me write it down this way, right? Dosha and what all affects it.
Yeah, what all affects, and then the dynamic.
And the changes, basically, right? Seasons, doshas change because the weather, and age group that we are in, that also changes. So there are a lot of things that happen on that. So we will cover that. Okay. Any other questions, please?
So Ramakanth, I have a
sorry.
Yeah, I have some questions regarding relations between doshas and gunas. So let's talk about doshas. Doshas by birth, a lot of people, most of the people, they are born with some tattva or dosha, kapha tattva or pitta dominant, or vata dominant personalities most of the time. And based on that tattva or dosha, Ayurvedic doctors, they prescribe medicine. And this is something dynamic. I mean, over a period of time, the kapha person can become pitta, or pitta person can become vata. Is it something, does it happen, or it stays dominant as a pitta person for lifelong?
No, it changes. That's what I think Sriniji is asking about. Right? So there is
it related to gunas? Like gunas also change. The person with the tamasic and rajasic person can become sattvic, dominant. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
The prakriti is very dynamic. Everything, at least this is the thing that always baffled me. In other words, is it truly dynamic? Your behavior, so sangat, what you eat, would it actually change that? So in other words, what it essentially means is, like, you need a continuous assessment of your doshas, and you need continuous calibration, right? So that's the piece that as opposed to more of a once in 6 months, once in 7 months, because our lifestyle is so dynamic, perhaps. Anyway, I want to explore a little bit of that. The other thing that I'm basically, something that Ramakanth we've been talking about. If you look at the allopathy, the traditional medicine is all about curing diseases, illnesses, do whatever you want and this stuff. But how can we shift that from to curing diseases to how can we proactively quarterback the well-being, which is what this entire essence of this stuff is. So, and when we start going from proactively manage your well-being, at the physical level, emotional level, and then that's where doshas and all these things happen. And there is so much emphasis on what you eat, the food and the nutrition and your behavior and so on and so forth. So if you can focus a little bit more on the nutrition, there's also so much confusion about what is good, what is not good. Can you mix some of these things? What is superstition versus what is science? So there is always this dvandva between something is science, something is not science, something is belief based versus something is evidence based. So how can we bring harmony? How can we bring harmony into evidence and science so that it can be more made universal? So that's kind of the ultimate journey that I'm trying to get to. So anything that you can shine light on,
sure, no problem.
Making it more belief based, I think that would be fantastic.
Everything is science based. There is nothing about belief in everything that we touch. Honestly, it needs a little bit of shaking out our so-called modern 150-year science and scientificness that we think about. Rather, Ayurveda is so very fantastic and deep. And all of us here are here because we have some background of either spirituality or the inner journey. Anyways, that wisdom is with us. So I would
Yeah, one
There's no, please, Raj.
motherhood and alpha data point, right? So this came up in our class discussions when they were teaching about Ayurveda for 101 session. Can we profile a person and then prepare food which will tailor to their guna dosha combinations, right? So that will drive some of these toxicity in them, right? Or whatever their state of mind is.
Yeah, the entire AI can be applied, Raghuji, basically, right? Yeah. That is where it is driving. And
this is more into thinking about restaurant applications, right?
Correct.
So can you have a Hanuman temple kitchen, right? That will make Ramakanth a lot more sattvic. He's already very sattvic, right? Or maybe a cold day, a little bit more rajasic or whatever it is.
Yeah, I can share. In fact, there are restaurants already running this. I can share with you those examples as well. Right?
Actually,
they are already
there. On that food, one, perhaps it's a myth or misperception, or whether I'm not thinking, I have this belief now. I at least it's kind of my perception of the belief is that so-called whatever we are actually prescribing as an Ayurvedic diet or Sattvic diet tend to be more carbohydrate based, which actually is not resulting in the well-being, but rather it's actually making people this carb-centric diet more and more. It might actually be putting more people into tamasic.
So,
yeah.
One last question, Ramakanth. So our sadhana, yoga sadhana specifically, helps us become reduce, moderate our rajasic and eliminate our tamasic. That is our attempt, and increase our sattvic. So in dosha point of view, so do we achieve anything with yoga sadhana? Should we try making our body more of kapha or pitta or vata? That is also something always confusing for me.
I couldn't understand. Can you be?
Okay.
Are you saying is there a specific type of yoga for the dosha?
No. So
is that a question? No. Okay.
See, like in gunas, we have sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. Out of the three, sattvic is good, rajasic and tamasic are also good, but they need to be moderated. They make us do mistakes and laziness. Those are something we have to moderate with our sadhana and elevate our sattvic. And with yoga sadhana, is there anything which could moderate, fine tune this doshas, kapha, pitta, vata? If I'm more of a vata person, is it something I should bring it down and elevate my kapha type? Or if I'm more kapha type, should I bring elevate that to pitta?
Everything,
Yeah.
your thoughts, whatever we consume, we not just consume food, right? We are consuming the pratyahara is all about consuming. So the ahara of all kinds, the gossips that we are listening, do we want stimulate the coffee, it could be a coffee, it could be a tequila, it could be spicy jokes on people, envious conversations happening, or the suspense serials that gripping suspense, whatnot. So everything is included. So ahara, vihara, everything included, totally.
Yeah.
Right? Ayurveda is totally holistic. Yoga is totally holistic. So whatever you do also includes the same. Okay. So with that,
thank you.
I think we got pretty big set of questions.
One small thing. I see that Umaji is here and she has been unusually quiet. Umaji, we would like you to make your presence felt and ask one of the Holy Grail questions.
I don't have any question. I'm just a listener.
I see. I didn't say question. Something, first my Vinati was more
Namaskaram
about. Now I feel very good. Your presence is fast. Good.
Welcome all. The other fun part is, right? So I have also Sureka ji here, and Sureka ji he is by herself an Ayurvedic. Sureka ji, that one-liner, I'd like to get the right one-liner. So could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you. So I'm Sureka. I live in Dallas area. So by profession, I am an architect, software, and then Ayurveda and yoga is something Ramakanth ji introduced to me like years back, probably 10 years. And then I went and did the Ayurvedic practitioner. I try to follow that in my life and help all friends and family around me. And my sister is a GI, so she refers some of her people. So I'm just helping people with the Ayurvedic practice. And then I teach a few yoga classes at home too. So that's my intro. And I can take the question on the Vata, Pitta, Kapha. I can attempt. I know we probably more Ayurvedic people on the call, but my understanding of the Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic is more of a mind things, right? Like how your thoughts go. It's a subtle body, right? So the mind and the heart, the chit, consciousness related, right? So that is related to our subtle body, and Vata, Pitta, Kapha are related to the gross body, which is the physical manifestation of the same things, right? So and what is the right way for me is Prakriti is the nature we are born with. That is the where we are centered and we feel more balanced. So I'm born as a Vata person. So then I would always be a Vata person, and that's my right way of. If you are a Kapha person, it doesn't mean you have to make all the three equal. All right. So whatever your Prakriti is, you just, whenever you move out to become Vikruti, you move it back to the Prakriti by doing the pranayama, yoga, any of those. And then pranayama actually helps with the pranamaya kosha also, right? Like, so Rajasic, Tamasic, those are the mind related. Okay. So I don't know if I answered, but that's the two different.
Right. And so what we'll do, Sureka ji, so while Sureka ji is here, so, the Ayurvedic based questions, we will also have Sureka ji addressed many of those. I'll just quickly browse through right now into the subjective aspect, just guide you through the topics where they are, and so that you can browse on your own as well offline. Right? It's difficult. This is just a time that we want to go over just the overviews. So with this, let me jump onto the nutraceutical side, the functional medicine and all. Then we'll move on to a little bit on the question aspects, the overview in the Ayurveda. Then we again go back to the FAQs. And also, I want to make sure the time. I really want to respect all of your time here. If we are okay, then we can go beyond that 1 hour. If not, I'll try to go very swift here. Probably like a very quick TED talk, just for a couple of minutes. So with this, moving on to, this is one of my favorite slides, favorite PDFs, in fact. That is, actually, we are at a very great juncture of the best of the ancient and the modern. But still, there'll be a lot of confusions and all that. And using the Ayurvedic knowledge, things becomes very, very easy. So good that the overall functional idea we have, and also the modern medicine that we have for using as Band-Aid, whenever we need, for all the surgeries, for all the emergencies. But when we get on to a longer duration problems, right? Then we get into getting the help of the nutraceuticals as well as Ayurveda. So this is a very quick one where it's taken from the book called Drug-Induced Nutrition Depletion Handbook. So the antacids, whoever are on long-term antacids, will have been found that their nutrition deficiency on D, B12s, calcium, zinc, iron, and all. And I will not read this column at all. Potential health problems, once these are, then we end up into osteoporosis, anemia, weakness, fatigue, and heart diseases, and a big list written on the right side. Similarly, right, antibiotics do reduce us on a big list out here, again, ending up so many side effects on a long-term use. Cholesterol drugs directly affect the CoQ10, and that in turn leads us into low energy and other side effects. Antidepressants do the same, CoQ10 and B2. Female hormones, I mean, unfortunately, when we look at all these, right, the list is very huge in terms of female hormones or any hormone replacement therapy, whether it is male or female. And again, we have a very big, huge list of the side effects. On the same lines, anticonvulsants. Let's move into anti-inflammatory. If you are long-term, in fact, any of the pain medications, aspirins and so on, all those listed out here, right? The diuretics and cardiovascular drugs, diabetic drugs, and antiviral agents. And there are many other types that I can also help on other resources. But giving this a clue, right? We do need these medications. At some point, we did need it. So great, fantastic. But as soon as, and if we can have a test, so SpectraCell is one of the very popular SpectraCell.com, which does the micronutrient testing, clearly gives us what are all the nutrition deficiencies we have and the values that we have and what is optimal or suggested. Because usually what FDA says is very, very low, but for the optimal usage, it is what we need is very high. So they give you that list as well. And so using these medications, start getting into those tests and also use the corresponding vitamin, minerals, nutraceuticals, as well as the amount is also very clearly given so that it's not a guesswork anymore. It's very precise per the science. So this is one.
Ramakanth, is this
yes,
trace minerals are you talking about? Is this trace minerals?
Minerals B here
Minerals
explained. So this is minerals and okay. So let me take you to the link. You can.
No, because I think the kind of food we eat, obviously the food is depleted of all the trace minerals.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I use trace minerals, but I think everybody should take it.
Yes, everybody should take it.
Yeah.
It is the trace minerals. You're right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to understand.
Main vitamins are all listed too. Like selenium and copper, zinc are fall under the minerals, but not the trace.
No, the food. My understanding, Uma, vitamins depletion is you can still find vitamins, but trace minerals are depleted from the food source because of the soil contamination. So trace minerals are hard to, for body, it's hard to produce. That's my understanding.
Organic produce has that stuff. So you can eat like a dirtier vegetables. You can get some of the stuff because, well, there's no pesticides in them. So you don't have to scrub the carrots or peel the carrots. You can eat them a little bit dirty.
But what I a few years I read was, if you can put an organic vegetable farming, but if the soil underneath soil has complete depletion of, like, say, if you use an older land which has already put a lot of chemicals and other things, and you start growing an organic, because the percentage of organic needs to be only 80% or something for it to be called organic. So the soil is still depleted of all this trace minerals.
No, I think there is certain soil testing that's done before you can do the soil needs to be turned over n number of times. I don't know exactly. Maybe the rules are different in Canada versus US. I can't, like, let's say my grass is treated with something so dandelions don't grow. I can't dig up my yard and say, here's my organic farm. It has to
exactly.
it has to be soil
So
tested.
what we'll do is we will take this
Well,
idea of question, we will still park it for now. We'll just go through overview very quickly, and then we'll come back to the more deeper discussions too.
So
Thank you, Ramakanth.
one follow-on thought, because what we are talking about is, let's assume for a moment that there is depletion of trace minerals in the soil. So that means the produce or whatever we are eating, they do not have it. My question there is then, what's an actionable insight? So can we take supplements for those things that cannot be brought in through the food? So can we actually supplement even minerals just like the vitamins, or is it not even possible?
It is possible, yes.
So that's an actionable insight, right? So we could then, there is a zinc or iron or magnesium that's a depletion, then you can actually supplement that. It may not come directly from the source of the food, but we can actually go supplement it. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So going back to this question, like I think Umaji also added this topic, which I was planning to cover anyways, and thanks for that. So we also have this a sheet which says dirty dozen. So they publish this often, and what they are saying is, right, there are few that get affected most by the pesticides that are used. But interestingly, they also found that there are some foods that don't get affected, they are get least affected. So what they are saying is, they want you to save your dollars on, spend your dollars more on the dirty ones, the highest dirty ones, and on the clean 15 that they call, they're on the least. So basically, if it is a grapefruit, cauliflowers, onions, and kiwi, and so on, you can buy this regular too. You don't need to spend on organic, buy them organic. But the top in the list are things like strawberries, apples, nectarines, spinach, peaches, and so on. Right. So these they want you to, or recommend you to, use organic. Okay. Thanks, Umaji.
If I can add one quick thing, Ramakanth.
Please.
Clean 15, they end up there because by nature, these fruits, vegetables don't need pesticide to grow. In nature, avocados are tough cookies. They just grow. Cauliflower, you get the upper leaves that are, infested with bugs, and they'll strip them off and do. So they actually, it's not like they're not affected. They don't even have to put them. Onion by itself is, it has allicin, it has antiviral, antibacterial properties. So nothing comes near it. So, and organic, however, if other things are grown in the same soil that are being treated with runoffs, whatever, there is some effect, but generally these other items do not need to be treated, hence not affected.
Right. So with that, I'm just jumping into the micronutrient testing that they do, right? It checks for all the vitamins. When we go to a doctor's annuals, it doesn't check, let's say, the entire carbohydrate metabolism. It may not check everything. They may not check everything. Similarly, they don't even check many or none of these antioxidants probably, okay, which are very, very crucial. Similarly, the amino acids, the levels of them, they may not. And again, we have important minerals out here, the metabolites. Similarly, they also check on the total antioxidant function, the levels of it, and another score called the Immunidex immune response score. So this is one of the popular ones that the functional doctors are using, around $400. I think some of us, even the regular insurance may cover. But again, I just like to browse through very quickly, not get too deep into the topics. Similarly, I have listed out plenty of tests here. Okay, plenty of tests. That is, for example, we have this link, which covers pretty much a lot of different kinds of testing that our regular doctors don't do. Right? The thyroid ones, organic acid tests, right? And may do too. I'm not sure, but all I'm saying is it does list a big amount of tests that the functional doctors may use, or maybe even the regular doctors also do use. I was just finding a big list out here. I just wanted to bring it to your notice. Now,
this is overwhelming. This is overwhelming.
Yes, it is. It is just, that's the reason. These are just resources. Just take what is needed. The noise, let's just dump it aside.
But it's not I'm not talking about the thing is, I'm glad that somebody is actually approaching the functional medicine with this level of targeted testing and all that stuff.
Yes, it is. The reason is, the suffering has been going that way. I mean, these are most of the times you find doctors themselves there are so many modern Western doctors who have been going through their own cancers, and they have been questioning themselves, what is wrong in the system, right? So that is another reason why a lot of them came here. Please go ahead.
Sorry, my question is more about how do we make it accessible to a common man so that they could actually go do this? Like, something is, hey, here are all the tests there, take what you resonate with. But where do I start? Where do I start? And how do I...
Good functional local doctor.
Correct. And that too, again, a lot of people have their own story there too. In a sense, they would say, oh, I went to the functional doctor, but they were only focusing on three different directions. I did not really feel happy and so on. So that's where I'm about to go. This is just my view, my perspective, right? All of us have our own lens to look at.
Let's do a quick survey. How many of us, how many of the 13 people that we are here, how many of us have a functional doctor?
I don't. YouTube is my functional doctor.
So that's even
expert for all these. Yeah. So I mean, you go when you need them, right? Yeah.
So functional doctor means Ayurvedic doctor. Is that an Ayurvedic doctor or PCP? What is the meaning of functional doctor?
Personal care.
The PCP is the other one, like all the tests that we're talking about, check the mineral testing or histamine testing, pylori testing, and all the different things that your PCP generally doesn't do in your regular annual physical. It's the functional doctor. That's a new category. And it almost feels like everybody is a functional doctor by themselves, right? By YouTube or Google. Umaji,
not really. There are MDs that are functional doctors. You don't want to go to.
So that is where I'm about to go. Is when you actually this website used to talk that way. In fact, I picked my PCP, my past PCP, only that way. They are not doing this anymore. This website, the spectracell.com, I would punch in the names and your zip code or whatever, and there would be a list of practitioners. And out of them, some of them were MDs as well. So in fact, I picked my PCP by looking at those names because she was functional as well as she was the regular PCP too. And that was a good edge. And there are similar ones here in Dallas, and I can give the names offline after a call or something. I can also help you on that. But there is a way that we can search them in the anti-aging websites, as well as look at them whether they are the MD regular doctors covered in network.
And a DO would be fine too, Ramakanth, because they go to the same medical school, except that they get a little bit different.
Correct. DO is also, exactly. DO would be great as well, because the last 1 year I heard that, or 1 year they cover the alternative and the rest of them are the same. Okay, moving on the same lines. This is what I wanted to. So the gut health, earlier I was not that good at, I only bumped into gut health recently. So just by looking at the gut health, they have come to a point, right? So Deepak Chopra, and in fact, there's our Naveen Jain, they have come up with this Viome. And what it does is it takes the microbiome testing, right? All the gut. And like they say, right, everything starts with the gut and so on. And they do their test and they look at the results, right? This is very similar to, Sureka ji would be very interested in this test. It is very similar to what Ayurveda says. So what they talk about is each and every element, avocado, this is for a particular gentleman, right? This is for the particular person. It is superfood and can be consumed by that person, right? Here, and so on, and it goes on, banana, very, very single, the shikari root, every vegetables, a big list of vegetables and fruits and whatnot. So this list goes, is a very, very long, 77.
Let me understand it. Are they trying to
Sure.
fit? Are they trying to fit a particular food to a particular person based on the gut health?
Correct. So the gut health, once it takes the test, they are using the AI data, I mean, the data available throughout the world, and how they do and all, I'm not, but they have very big data that they can punch into. And they've come up with the specifics based on a scientific methodology. I mean, they also give what and how they test and so on. I think we can spend more time offline. So based on that, they clearly give you what the vegetables, what is for your personality. Basically, it is like your own thumbprint, right? A unique thumbprint that needs your own specific Vata, Pitta, Kapha, like we have our own signature, special signature. So the specific links, it directs to the appropriate data and guides you very clearly. For example, like here, right? The sea salt and Himalayan salt, right? It's saying minimize. And if you look at any Kapha people or Pitta people, right? If they take salt more, then it aggravates the dosha. Okay. And Vata folks who wants to increase weight, right, can take salt. And among them, sea salt and Himalayan salt are great. But overall for Kapha and Pitta, right, going for salty based foods or even the salt itself aggravates their dosha right away. So just to give you, so this is how the list goes. And look at this fun part, right? Even on the supplements, they give you specifics. Okay, you do need a probiotic. It is offered by these labs folks. And what does it do? Similarly, all of these, the butyrate that you need, where do you want to buy it? What does it do for you? The prebiotics, and so on. All the complete list for you specific, your supplementation, your thumbprint, and so on. But again, this is just an overview. I mean, there's a lot of time that we can spend on this. I'm just giving you some clues how things can be done. And even one of these tests that looked at are similar in the sense it is science-based nutrition, and the test that they do gives very, very clear instructions on overall. I mean, look at the report itself. It's a 20-page report. It clearly takes all the specifics in your body and then says, okay, nutrients, these are the specific ones that you need, and this is how much you need. Let me go to the other page. Yeah, here, let's say high hair cadmium, cadmium that they found in the body. They are saying, hey, go for the chlorella clean, probably that helps the greens, the super greens that they are, to take that in order to reverse your high hair cadmium levels, basically, right? And we talked about the trace minerals, right? So somebody had a very low hair chromium, and they are suggesting the specific ones. Right? So these are some wonderful, good ones that I liked. I'm just presenting them. And anyway, it's all listed out here. You can spend your own time there. One of the other websites that I really like is lifeextension.com, which is nothing but Life Extension Foundation. And out of it, you can actually specifically search for the health problems that you have. They give you the medical background and the data related to the regular doctors, plus added, they will also give you specific nutrition and nutraceuticals that you can buy from them. Okay.
Ramakanth, this is one more thing, Life Extension, you can call them, and they have actually pharmacists online. They will answer your questions and recommendations. They don't push their stuff on you. They have an angle of seva while making money. So I just wanted to say that.
Fantastic. And that brought me to another good point. Like, for example, Banyan Botanicals is another Ayurvedic company. I mean, most of the Ayurvedic companies too. So this is at least organic, local company from New Mexico. So they do the same for the Ayurveda. It doesn't matter what problems, you can call their helpline, like Umaji said, and they would give you a background of just asking you the general questions, what is happening. They might ask you a little bit more than a regular person who sells some kind of bottle. And then they also suggest you to read a little bit. And then over that, they also suggest, go ahead and tell you, these are the kits that are available, and choice is up to you how to pick. So yeah, there are plenty of them, because folks ultimately need it. I mean, there could be regions where, I mean, at least Dallas, we have like Sureka ji and so many of us here in Dallas, we can reach out to them. But there are so many who are in a lot of corners and having worked through years and don't get any results, right? It's so difficult. Moving on to the other websites that I like. This is another good one that I really like, because as soon as you, I mean, here you can either search by vitamin or by food, right? If I say, vitamin D, okay, what do I need? So then it searches for a particular vitamin, and okay, I think I need to search it a little bit better. But anyways, it's reverse too. So it is, you can put in food or you can put in the vitamins, and then they give the exact numbers and perimeter. For example, some of us may say, oh, okay, I'm low in magnesium. I found I'm low in magnesium, but I want to go not onto nutraceuticals. I don't want to go to any vitamin supplement, but I want to gain as much through the food that I eat. And as soon as you say magnesium, right, it gives you all the top 10, top 20 foods and their numbers and their volumes and so on. So it's really fantastic. This is one of my favorite. So jumping. What was that? Sorry.
Mine too.
Oh, okay, great. So, Umaji, I think we should sync up offline as well. And of course, now very quick one about supplements. First thing you want to know is all of them, whatever the supplements that you take, should come from food-based supplements. So they will be expensive, and they will not be like from the synthetic vitamins that are made. The regularly made vitamin from food source is very different from a synthetically made, and we all know about it. But again, how the money-making industry, even if it is holistic, now there is a big gush that comes there, and they want to say, at least for us on this call, at least we have none of us have any business to do with any of it. So we are so easy to discuss, and it is our choice to pick what and how. So there's no push of products here. Then the other one that I want to bring up is IV therapy. I have seen a lot of folks, a lot of my friends and family who are running from, again, very urgent need of problems, a lot of inflammation, let's say a lot of health related issues. So IV is so fantastic that, based on your problem, they would, and these are not from FDA or any medical doctors, but like you and me, all of us can start a IV therapy business, by the way. Okay. And the good part I found is some of them are mobile. They come to your home, and you can, they come and do the IV at your home. This is so
sorry, Ramakanth, there are 3 Canadians in the group. So sorry, we don't have that luxury here.
Which one? This is the mobile?
Sorry? The mobile or this whole therapy, this is all out of pocket.
Yeah, even I'm listening for the first time. I'm in Houston.
No. So by the way, none of it is
pocket. Savi, here too. It's on. You're pretty much on your own. Most of the insurances will not cover any other stuff.
Yes, IV therapies are not covered by insurance at all. Okay. The reason why I am listing these is this is another mode that we can get to quick help very quickly. Right, in a holistic.
Are there any risk factors FDA approved? Are they FDA approved? And if there are any side reactions, overdoses of some things, it could affect, right? I don't know how we can administer. On whose recommendation can we administer?
Yeah, they will be. There is a system for it. Yeah, ultimately, it's all about whoever administers it. They go through the entire process of. You have professionals, and by the way, some of us could be interested in doing this business also. So I'm just giving you a clue. I mean, vitamins too, it's the same. By the way, vitamins, whoever are interested, in fact, we as a group can do that too, in the sense, there are vitamin wholesalers who prepare this everything through those food-based vitamins, and all you and me can do, all we can ask is just label them for us, right? And we as a group can have our own vitamin supplement brand for ourselves. Similarly, IV therapy, we as a group, if one of us, like Sureka ji is talking about, one of her sister is into the health management and so on, and some of us may be here too. And if we have our own group, then we could have our own IV therapy, and this gives a very quick possibility for recovery, very quick detox, very fast recovery to health. And I will talk more about it. And by the way, take a pinch, take everything with a pinch of salt. Just don't take it just with a face value. Take your own time, research them and so on. But these are all local. I mean, these are all Dallas-based websites that I put in. Sorry, go ahead, please.
So one quick question. So can anybody talk about any empirical experience of, like, let's say IV therapy? I mean, whatever you are allowed, you're comfortable sharing, like what was the need, what is the process, and what was that?
I can add right there. I can add right there. By the way, Sriniji, I mean, wherever I'm talking all these, I have been involved with people who have been using it. Or people, this is not just a research and put it on the side, but this is research where I have also got involved with people who are using them and who have gone and given some feedback and so on. So coming back to the IV therapies, back home, not just here, I mean, in Hyderabad I'm talking about, and here too. So my own firsthand family friends who were on cancer, the third stage of cancers, have reversed their ailments, stage 1, stage 2 as well, using IV therapies. In fact, they call it the banana bag, and they have some funny names to it and so on. So the like a regular whole vitamin, you could, instead of allowing, see, the problem that happens is those who are not in the wellness, who are not well, their gut has its own problems. Where once you take these vitamins, only partial of it gets absorbed into the system. So folks started to understand that vitamins and supplements, great. So out of it, IV has gone a little bit further, saying, how can we bypass? That is where they are looking.
So basically,
in fact,
it's based on the same philosophy. The core of it is like food is the medicine. And then if food is a medicine, then this IV is kind of an advanced way of consumption of the minerals and the vitamins that you need.
Actually, it's more famous for folks going on alcohol on the Friday nights or whatever, and just to avoid the hangover, it is mainly famous for that field actually. Okay, but of course, I mean, it's more popular in that field. But
so what do they
all
do?
Of us yogis here.
What is the use case? What is the use case with alcohol?
No, people to come out of the hangover.
They just put the IV and then they get hydrated very quickly.
Very fast, basically the amount, and they come out of the hangover very fast.
Ramakanth, you just touched a little bit on it, but often all deficiencies are because of food. Of course, source of food. Food has to be good, right? Even if I'm eating good food, if I don't have good gut bacteria, or if the lining is messed up, or what they call it as leaky gut syndrome, all these things are at the root of not being able to deal with the problem, because I may be eating, but it is not going to the right parts of the body. That's what is so with IV, you're shunting that process. You give your body a chance to heal. Hopefully they put you on prebiotics, probiotics, and your gut lining has a chance to fix. Then you need to eat better and take the right, supplements. This is my, learning or whatever. I've been on a quest for a long time too, so.
So a more controversial question or a rebellion thought. If it were not for the tongue, then can we just live on IV?
Well, there is breatharians that live on air. So Srini, you have a goal.
The Pratyahara solution is just attach an IV needle.
So now moving on to the other concepts, the integrative.
I want to share, right? So
Yes, please.
what
Yes.
my experience in line with Umaji, right? So vitamins, I didn't go with IV, but the vitamins when you take, actually think a normal means relatively healthy person, not like someone who is suffering for cancer or something, right? Like GI related, stronger, like it's gone north. So south, sorry. So right, like regular taking a vitamin, we don't absorb because in the first place, we got the deficiency because your gut stopped absorbing it. It has a problem, so it stopped absorbing. That's the food, whatever food, at least what we eat, most probably will have some part of the supplements, right? Because we are affordable, organic, whatever we are eating. But your gut itself is stopped absorbing. So that is where actually, for me personally, Ayurveda detox helped. Detox is constantly cleaning the layer of your gut, right? That one, so you have a chance to restore your microbials to be a new thing, give it a different layer, and then eventually you'll start absorbing, and that is when actual supplements also work. Otherwise, very hard for to recover completely just by supplements. That's my personal experience has been. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Rekha ji, so are you talking about Panchakarma?
Yeah.
Yeah, or even even a smaller version of it. But if we do fasting, panchakarmas, that would change the whole process. Yeah,
I was going to
I agree with you on this point.
Cure a lot of the gut issues.
So on daily basis, the focus, the consciousness of our ingestion of the foods, like, the kind of foods we are eating. So we are talking about a lot of deficiency of vitamins, minerals, nutrients. Normally, it's supposed to be there in our sattvic food, but it's not there. Why? It's not because we are buying spurious quality. I don't know what it is. There are some kind of Ayurvedic diets prescribed. I mean, what our Indian diet is nothing but Ayurvedic food, but the way we cook in microwaves, ovens, and reheating, in America, most of the time we eat one curry for 2-3 days, those kind of things. Every day we are adding a lot of toxins. And detoxification, however, the best we do, if we don't have a good eating habit, like eating fresh sattvic food and this cooking process and all those things, the prana of the food, that's what I was told in some of my classes, it has to be preserved. If there is a prana in the food, that gives you the essential nutrients, minerals, and it can be absorbed. Of course, the detoxification is needed, depending on the kind of toxins we are taking. We need a detoxification based on the toxins we are taking. So we should also be conscious of ingestion of these toxins. That's what is something I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, most of it, I mean, again, this is one of the embedded PDF and this is from Subha Jain. It's called Sattvic Movement, that she's pretty popular YouTube channel that is running around, right? So again, like you said, she she put these into, again, Sattvic, Rajasic, and the Tamasic, explaining them and how the dominant of that guna in our system. Of course, she's going into Bhagavad Gita shlokas from the 17th chapter, and how the Rajasic, Tamasic foods are. So here, right, foods are stale after 3 hours of being cooked, is what she's saying, right? So that is how our ancestors, right, the ladies at home have been constantly cleaning vessels, cooking, cleaning vessels, cooking. Entire life they have been in the kitchen, right? But again,
and also the vessels also, we used to have ittadi or bronze vessels. Those used to be, exactly. That vessels also makes difference. The clay pots, and
Absolutely. All this has been given.
Back to
in this.
Mittika Bartan, right? Because
Right.
Mittika Bartan inherently when you cook, you do get like the silica and some other trace minerals that just get into the food.
So
So
her
the
process,
prana,
she talks about
a
the
food
living
if-
foods.
yeah, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No, same
Yeah.
thing. I know the reason why I'm going forward is this PDF does talk about all your things. Basically, the Mittika Bartan is one thing. Similarly, most of the living foods, and similarly the wholesome-based foods, plant-based foods, and water-rich foods. And just by using this Sattvic movement, actually, a lot of folks around the globe have cured their ailments. Very, very serious problems, all the gut problems and so on. And whatever Rajuji, you are talking about are all typically what she has been listing. So that goes by default. I mean, Surekaja is here regarding Ayurveda. Ayurveda talks this straightforward. That's the first
Yeah,
thing. But
the
again,
basic point, as per my understanding, is any food, restaurant food or anything, if it is wrongly prepared, not having its prana, it's nothing but a toxin. It might give you a 10% or 5% of nutrients and energy to you, but it's going to be a toxin in your body, whatever the quantity to it. So that's what is the fundamental thing.
But again, you have to realize certain things. Overall, once we go very itty-bitty on to stuff, I mean, today, the Grihalakshmi, we as a civilization made a Grihalakshmi into an office Lakshmi, right? So, a lot of things have changed. And similarly, the entire cultivation system, even the way we are cooking it, everything changed. So that's the reason. Once we go deeper into it, with this information that we just talked about, from tomorrow you can make a mess out of this good knowledge that we have, because it doesn't matter. On the bottom line, from the main perspective, are we happy? Are we questioning the right paradigms in life? Are we living in a life of mindset of a growth mindset or a scarcity mindset? And all of us right now, we here on the call, right, from being from a DC background, out of the entire world that is there, they're saying US is the most richest or whatever. And in that US, Canada based area, we are on the top 5% too. But the question is, today, all our priorities have taken total. So
Thank you, Ramakanth, for addressing that. Because I don't, if you make a woman to cook 24/7, clean the pot, cook, clean the pot, cook, I don't think it will be cooked in with good intention.
Even if it is a
actually,
male,
Savi, the intention actually affects the food. गुस्से में खाना बनाया तो हजम नहीं होता जो खाते हैं उनको,
Exactly.
That's what they say, that
Exactly. So there are.
I was thinking I'll stick to IV.
So
everybody IV in that home.
What about the taste, though? What about the taste?
Taste
I'm
also
counting on Elon Musk. I'm counting on Elon Musk to come with a pill where when I put the pill in my mouth, it should
That's
taste
very
like
easy. Right? We'll
While
do
taking IV, you take Cadbury chocolate for taste.
Yeah,
we'll do a Tenali Rama's cat scenario, right? Right? You remember the story there?
Actually, the thing is, it's the nature's way of living. When the interpretation that I had when Ramakanth said Gruha Lakshmi, I think it all meant more of a role than a person or a gender, perhaps, right?
Absolutely.
Right? More of a role.
There's nothing.
It's more of a
Because the
role.
male or
Especially
female,
in
it
the
doesn't
cooking
matter.
one, it can be a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, like when
Ramakanthi and Sriniji, no matter whether it is Grihalakshmi or wife or females or men or anything, it is the lifestyle. End of the day, if you take out 30 minutes of time for cooking, limited quantity, eat that, finish it off. And you take the lifestyle. If you can mend your lifestyle, that's it. Say, for example, dinner, I can't make it. I order pizza, which is heated at 450 degrees or 600 degrees. It's tasty, cheese, all those things, vegetables, all those things, but they're all toxins, dead stuff, no prana. I'm ingesting, consuming with the aromas, but it's just, going to my body and staying as a toxins. And I have to, detoxify my body. 30 minutes of talking, dal chawal, good enough. Vegetables, boiled this thing with good tadaka. That 30 minutes is a lot of time for 2 people, 4 people. Every house is not having not more than 4 people in today's life. I mean, it's a lifestyle, I believe, just like the way we are doing yoga and all those things.
Absolutely.
That also, if we take 30 minutes.
Absolutely, we should do that. And again, like this ahara that we are taking, and also the intention of the ahara. Where is it coming from? So aligning on all different levels. I mean, we could do a lot of it and have a big grudge. Let's say, we are following all these to the point and spending all the holistic way of eating, but we have 20-year-old grudge upon somebody, and it will have its own effect. So we have to work through yoga, through Ayurveda, through everything, all possible ways. But as soon as we make some paradigm shifts, it makes a big difference, because the blood starts to become alkaline right away. You could take alkaline foods as well, but if we are not living an alkaline based lifestyle, then it's a big deal. With that, I know we are pretty much on the hour. How is our appetite? I mean, we can do this, we can pause, we can go for the next time based on the interest. We'll do that. I just want to do a time check before.
Barely scratch the surface of all the topics.
It's a very good starting beginning. What I say is, like, we can start focusing on one specific topic for 70 minutes or 75 minutes. And that would give great insights, and it helps us go deep diving, like, just discussing on doshas in one session or 2 sessions, session 1, session 2, session 3. Thereafter, Ayurvedic food, lifestyle. I mean, if we can divide and conquer something like that, that would be great.
Because the reason, the fun part with Ayurveda is, it goes pretty deep and whatnot. But I want to make it very simple as well. And I'll also work with Sureka ji, and we'll have probably Sureka ji run the session or do something. But very, very simple ones. Simple ones. For example, we just talked about earlier, right? Saying how a taste, for example, let me go to this page. Once we know Vata, Pitta, Kapha of what type we are, or we could do
it is
just go to.
Go ahead. Finish your thoughts.
So, for example, these tastes, okay, the 6 tastes that we have either a cooling or a heating effect, and the food examples are given here. I'm just cutting down a big race to a simple table, and just a small case study out of this. And now, looking at these tastes, the Vata people, sweet, sour, salty are fantastic for them. Okay. But for Pitta, it is the bitter, astringent, and the sweet taste. This combination makes a Pitta person, it helps them. Because you see here, this is cooling, here it is cooling, and this is cooling. Whereas for Kapha, it is a little bit different. The heat still covers the bitter and the astringent, but I think they can take the pungent, I'm sorry. So the last 3, these are the 3 that they can take, the Kapha people. Okay. So just by changing the taste of the food that we eat, right, changes the guna, changes the way. For example, an apple, a cooked apple, a raw apple may not be that great for a Vata person, but as soon as it is cooked, it becomes fantastic for a Vata person. Similarly, it could be a reverse way for the others. So I think these are some very intricate things that the Ayurveda helped, and all our ancient grandmas knew about all this game, and was very, very easily available for all of us. With that, I'll pause here Right? I'll pause here.
Ramakanth, nobody is ever one dosha. You know, most often you're like 45% this, 32% that, or like, 38% this. Not three dosha, but there's two dominant doshas. And hence it gets a little bit more challenging because am I vata? Because I have, joints that creak, or because my mind is racing, or, like I have digestion issues. So it's a little bit more challenging to figure out, and that's the key, that to figure that out.
So Sureka ji, do you want to, out of those 7 doshas, right? One is single doshas, 3 single doshas, 3 of them dual doshas, and 1 the complete 3 doshas. So the 7 type of doshas. Now we have this challenge. Could you please help, Sureka ji? What do you suggest on those who have dual doshas?
Okay, so no, that is what is that Prakriti Vikruti counts. You could be any of, right? Vata is my 60% and 30% is Pitta, and Kapha is 10%, suppose. That's my natural state of where I feel balanced. That is what you need to target to, right? Like now at this age, generally middle ages, Pitta is higher. So you see more inflammation related. So your Pitta is supposed to be 30, but it went to 60. Then you need to work on getting the Pitta down, right? Come to your natural state. So that's how we adjust the food.
Yeah, but
and herbs also.
my challenge is you need to identify what you are. And I've watched plenty of videos, taken plenty of tests. Nothing is ever conclusive. And I don't know Ramakanth, but Tapasji has a phenomenal video about diagnosing dosa. I watched that multiple times, and I'm like, I'm here, I'm there, and yet I don't know what I am. So I'm like, I wish there was a blood test to draw a tube of blood and tell me, hey, Uma, you're this, but there's none.
Yeah. No, there is a pulse, right? Like if
Pulse,
you go
correct,
to Ayurvedic, they can check the pulse and let you know. And I think they are the instruments to check the pulse and tell you what your type is. Yeah. And there are some blood tests. I saw some companies are giving blood test also. They'll send you every 3 months a test. And then tell you what is the right, because you're constantly changing with the weather, age,
and
right?
also with the weather,
type of food we are eating.
Yeah.
Right. You're
so if
constantly
you could please share those resources, that would be great, for everybody, I guess, too, right? To see, hey, how can I approach figuring out what my dosha is,
Sureka ji, I want to check with you. I heard that through confidential persons, I heard, like, there are some Ayurvedic doctors, just by seeing your face and your movements, they can say what is your body type, dosha, or what is it dominant. And some people just by hearing your voice over the phone, they can say that you're having this dosha problem. Recently, I met one doctor, Sharon Cap or someone at CGA office. Just by listening to our voice, she was able to say what is the problem, and she was actually Ayurveda also goes with this what is this astrology. She was telling that your Ayurveda is closely integrated with astrology. She was saying that your Saturn is dominating and Guru is at its peak, something like that. There are some fantastic people in Ayurvedic field. I mean, if we can bring them on and if we take some tips in an order, what today Ramakanth covered is so awesome. I mean, he covered so many good topics, great topics. It's a great discussion we had today, but we can streamline, and if you try covering one by one. Today I learned about functional medicines. I don't know what is that. I'm exploring on that. And also that IV drips, that is also something new I learned. And thank you very much for giving so many links, giving us so many links, Ramakanth. I'll definitely go through them. Very informative session, Ramakanth. We thank you very much for this.
Okay, with that, we'll go back to Sriniji. So we'll catch up next week.
Yeah. What would be my request, and it's just a request for submission. One is, if we can, just like how we do like a success journey for a customer, if you can put together a journey of, 5-stage journey, like, beginner stage 1 is like, hey, here are the 3 things that, we would recommend. And stage 2 is, here are a couple of other things that you can do. And stage 3 is some of this stuff, right? So right now, there is a set of, it's almost like playbooks. So take on the journey, perhaps, the first thing could be like, just get some of this basic mineral testing or some of these things, and then, go explore. So there is a way to bring this into a digestible journey for somebody. Just like stage 1, you are here, and stage 2, go explore some of this thing, and stage 3, some of the stuff, right? So that way it becomes a roadmap for people to take control. Otherwise, what happens is, hey, you become an explorer and you navigated, there's so much this thing, and you don't know where you're beginning and where you're ending, right? So if there is a blueprint that anybody has, I think that would be more useful. And Surekha garu, thank you so much for joining. And the way you opened it up, the way you just simply put it, the gunas versus doshas at the 2 levels of being, sukshma versus the gross level. I think it's one is mind, the other one is the realm of physicality. I think that was so fantastic. And the fact that your sister, who is a GI, recommends people to you, which is a great endorsement. That's right there. So thank you for joining and sharing. Perhaps, if you can, collaborate and then see if that can be made into a 4-stage or 5-stage journey with, here the test that you can do, here some of the supplements, and here is kind of a way of life. And one other thing that I would say is, like, perhaps in the yogic system, what they did was they looked at the complexity of all the things, and they tried eliminating so much of intellectual exercise. Perhaps they put something like, do this type of yoga sequence every day, and every week, you go through panchakarma kind of stuff. Detox is very much part of a yogic practice. Every week you have to do, what is it called? Dhoti or Tati, one of the kriyas, right?
Dhoti.
Kriya
process. Kriya process.
Yeah, there is
Panchakriya.
Right?
Shatkriya.
Right. So that is very much part of it, including fasting. So that way you're always rejuvenating your entire being, right? So that's something that was very much recommended when I went to Shivananda's stuff. So what a fantastic discussion.
Srini and Raghu, I have one suggestion. Is there any way that we can pull in someone from SVS who has got tons of wisdom on Ayurveda, and we can bring them on and give some lifestyle class, Ayurvedic lifestyle classes? Raghuji, are you there?
Yeah, he's there.
I'm here. So in fact, I was talking to Mohan Kishwarji, who does all the short-term courses, right? So one is to just get somebody to talk in a form like this, versus Guruji is working on a 3-month program for corporates on Ayurvedic lifestyle management.
Very good. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and they have week to week, which is integrative, right? So they bring everything that they do is Ayurveda, naturopathy, along with yoga therapies, right? Or yoga practices. And again, yoga practices are all panchakosha, right? It's not just asana or pranayama, one or the other, right? It's a full day over a period that they touch upon all aspects of your lifestyle that you want to live through in an ideal state, right? So I can check on that. There is quite a bit of content and practices, right? We can also look at Vivekananda Global Health, right, where Dr. Manjunath and his wife, they manage all these clinics, right? That is an offshoot, or almost think of this as a Arogya Dhamma's clinic version, right? Or a concise version. The whole aspect of the Vayu setup, right, was to build out these Arogya Dhammas at a smaller levels, right? Which can be almost in a community or in a suburb of some sort, right? That is very successful in India and some of the South Asian countries. been a stretch on bringing capabilities, bringing trained help in the Western world, right? So there's a lot of effort going on those lines, but yeah, I can give it a shot, but I'll check on how that would work.
Yeah, Raghu. So what I'm trying to say is most of the times we are having online sessions, like on Zoom sessions we are having. So if we can pull in somebody from Bangalore, SVASA, or someone from India who is well experienced in Ayurveda, who can give lifestyle and some 10 hours or 15 hours or 30 hours sessions, we can pay them also, and we can get good audience too. That would be great. Actually, we'll get a holistic idea. I mean, Sureka ji, see, the reason it's not that Sureka is an architect by professional, and she got a lot of things on her plate, and but when it comes to SVS and this thing, they are professional in giving the knowledge, and also they have got some other different kind of experience as they are into research. SVS is into research, right? So
they have a university.
Yeah,
right?
We have Vayu in US and SVS in both are universities.
In SVS, right? In SVS, there is Ayurvedic University, right? Therapy and yoga practices, which you can see so many divisions.
Yeah, exactly. I have taken YTTC from SVS, from Smitaji and Vishwarupaji. I mean, the kind of Ayurveda knowledge they have, SVS has got immense. They used to arrange classes from India over the Zoom.
Correct.
So that's the reason I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Some basic concepts could give us a great boost. Great help.
Correct. Correct.
I think learning is great, but practical application, I think, are the most important. So, in addition to that,
I agree with you.
what we could
See, Umaji, whether it is spiritual knowledge.
Okay. Yeah, I think that Umaji, I think what you said is the right anchor, because everything, it's not no longer a theoretical knowledge, right? We don't need to. I think it has to be made so simple. Something like a cookbooks, right? 1, 2, 3 kind of stuff. So then it becomes easily adaptable. Otherwise, it's too complex. We don't have.
And small steps, right? Baby steps. Let's see if we can do whatever Banyan Botanicals 3-day khichdi fast, whatever. I'm using that as an example.
Umaji, I'll tell you one secret.
So I do
whatever Ayurveda teachers. I just remembered my days, the way my mommy fed all the 5 kids, our 5 kids. If one treats like my mom, that is Ayurvedic lifestyle. That's it. It was just one generation back.
My mom, cook like your mother cooked and you will be healthy.
Just 25 years back. In 25 years, a lot of things changed. That's all I'm trying to unlearn the new learnings in the last 25 years.
Yeah. So that's pretty much my motivation too, right? How our grandmas were saying only eat these many grapes because the weather is like this. Like how naturally they were able to say, like, we lost everything, but now, like,
not your grandmother. 25 years back, my mom and all, for this winter season, this nuvulu, what do you call it?
Yeah, depends, right? Yeah.
I go with what Umaji says. Even including the vessels. Sometime back, even the vessels came into picture, right?
Yeah.
Even right from my mom's age, they have shifted to steel and bronze, and all is like really, really old. I don't think so. Anybody, we all know that having a pot is good one to have, cold water, all those things is well said. But where are we practicing? I don't think so. None of us, we are practicing.
Using aluminum in my home was like a sin. It is only for beggars. Never ever give it to our kids. That was our concept in my home. But in my home, when I look at all the vessels, most of the vessels, cooking vessels, rice cookers and all those things are aluminum only. Most of the cooking dishes.
So Rajuji, bringing your mom back and putting in every house and treating her. I don't think that's quite a practical solution, right?
Practical way to live. Yeah.
So let's
At least we
actually,
heard. Our
Yeah,
kids
I think
wouldn't
we
even
need to
hear it.
empower us of the modern lifestyle. Inject little bit at a time. You just can't go, cold turkey on one day and then.
To start
I don't
off
think.
with, right?
Yeah.
So
So I think
helps.
like small thing, if you can say, okay, do oil pulling like 10 minutes or 5 minutes in the morning or
So
something.
yeah, I was
like
going
a
to
practical
say,
steps.
I
Practical steps.
do.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Sunita ji,
do have some groups where we do seasonal detox, right? We all join. I run for 4 weeks in twice a year. They join and we all do together the detox, right? It just
Exactly.
takes a lot
You
of
join the
energy
group.
from me. And then we talk every alternate week because everybody sees benefit, but then on you are going into your regular lifestyle, right? Like you're not following the same lifestyle which Ayurveda recommends, then you'll see the impact going back. But at least we can start there, like say what is that home panchakarma being at home you can do seasonally, right? And how you need to fast. So we can do, but anybody from
Sureka
India
ji,
yeah.
are you giving panchakarma at your place? You have any
No, this is
place giving
home
panchakarma?
one, right? So actual deep panchakarma, even in India, it's done for people who have an element, right? Like something you are really suffering, like diabetes. I want to get. Maybe you go for 2 months and do right but for a regular
You have to
person
stay in the
have a
place. You
good
can't.
digestion. No, you don't need. So just to have a good digestion, why have some gastric trouble, some acidity, like it's not life-threatening kind of thing, but you want to adjust, you can do panchakarma at home also.
Yeah, actually, when I went to Shivananda yoga teacher training after 15 days, we were given a practice where every Saturday you're supposed to consume castor oil. And then castor oil, and then after that, you were supposed to fast the entire, at least 24 hours after that. And that is actually part of the yoga way of living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in fact, it's not only that, it was actually practiced in almost all, I think even Christians and all the other things, they also have similar things. So this is kind of a universal way of living, and they explicitly tell you after you go through the yoga teacher training, and which I actually tried. So every once a week you're supposed to do that. And then what was remarkable for me, and I never had this insight, and of course it's too lazy. After you do this, and then you do kind of noble fasting for 24 hours, and after that day when you do yoga, the amount of energy that you have is unbelievable. You literally, in a yoga sadhana, you almost feel like you're flying through the air. And that is, and the thing is, it doesn't quite fit into our intellectual or our lifestyle thing, but perhaps those are the things. It's just like very simple. You don't need all this panchakarma and this stuff. Use any one of those things, and castor oil or something, and then do the fasting for one day.
Absolutely.
And
so
then
this is exactly what Sureka ji helps the guy. I mean, she does it for free. There's a groups she creates and then helps them during these 2 times of the year. And similarly, on the blog too, I just put this 1, 3, 7, 21 day a khichdi cleanse or so-called Ayurvedic cleanse, which ends up with the same castor oil.
Castor oil, yeah.
And throughout that, you also take the CCFT, cumin, coriander. And with that, back to you, Sriniji. I know we went half hour. I'll work with Sureka ji offline, and we'll come up with some other.
So basically,
did we miss this year's Sureka ji timeline of your
we do in the fall, Uma. So we do in May sometime, and then October, right? Before we start the summer, like not during the winter. Winter we need to preserve, so we don't generally do detox. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sureka Garu, one small pun, and then we'll do it. So I think you can call Uma Garu and Savita Garu each one by any other name, because both are one.
Oh, okay.
So with that, everybody, let's conclude for today's session. Everybody close your eyes.
You.
Take a deep breath. Just to chant Om 3 times. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently with a bright smile, open your eyes. What a fantastic discussion. I think this is probably the one of the most active satsangs that we've had. Thank you to Ramakanth. You touched everybody's chords and something, and all I can see is everybody consuming castor oil from now onwards.